it's time to review the patch notes. This will be the patch notes review for the Waking Flame DLC PTS Week 1 version 7.1.0. It's a dungeon DLC. I see some interesting YouTube comments that say, "Oh, they're not, oh, it's just 2 dungeons." I mean, it's gonna be 2. It's gonna be a pair of 2 dungeon DLCs, a chapter, and a zone DLC every year. That's been the formula since 2017. So, yeah, I don't think people are very have a good memory, or they're just not familiar with how the content cycle works for ESO. But anyway, let's go. Waking Flame adds 2 new 4-player dungeons to the game. Red Petal Bastion and Dread Cellar. We got a glimpse of that on the last Friday's ESO Live, which I made a video about. Waking Flame DLC preview. If you want to see the sets from there, well, we'll go into more detail about the sets here, because we see all the sets, not just some of the sets that they give us a sneak peek for. In the base game, we've expanded the number of sets you can use in no proc Zerodead campaigns, with more on the way. When they said no proc Zerodead, I think they meant like no damage proc Zerodead. I think proc sets like Seducers or something like that will still work, or should still work. They introduced 3 new item sets, rewards for the worthy. Added a reply option to receive mail at last. This is honestly the biggest Pog champion change they could have done. A reply function. Easy. And of course, a plethora. Oh! That's the first time they used the word. A plethora of bug fixes. A plethora, it's an SAT word. Means a lot. A plethora of bug fixes for the entire game. Wow. I am excited. Alright. Let's see. So it's gonna be for the first couple weeks of PTS, NA, then EU. Alright, it's gonna be 2.49 gigabytes, which is not bad at all. It's getting smaller, I've noticed. Let's keep going down. Wait. That's a table of contents. Waking Flame DLC, Red Petal Bastion. For those of you who wanted to know more about the lore, it's about the Knights of the Silver Rose, who are now, corrupted. The Dread Cellar, it's just basically Finn's basement, where he gets to, like, give you new mechanics. Alright, let's see. New normal vet, unique body and face markings. I'm actually curious what you guys think about this new thing. The biggest example was Rockrove. They didn't give a new skin for Rockrove, which I think is kind of weird. But they gave body and face markings. And they seem to be continuing this trend with dungeons now. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like, I've been meaning to make a video on, like, is it worth it to play ESO for the rewards? And the short answer is no. And this is part of the reason why. Unique body and face markings. My god, I hope they're better than Rockrove markings at least. Alright, several titles, unique housing items. Oh, cool. Alright, this is the juicy part, one of the juicier parts of a patch note. New item sets. Everyone loves new item sets. Everyone loves the new powerful sets that will probably get nerfed, because I made a video on it, right, Kappa? Alright, so Scorion's Feast. It's a light armor set. This was one of the previewable sets on the ESO livestream. Max Magicka, Magic Recovery, Weapon and Spell Damage. When you deal damage with a fully charged heavy attack, you gain an imbued aura for 10 seconds, granting you and up to 3 other group members 307 Magic and Stamina Recovery. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds. If you deal damage with a fully charged heavy attack with imbued aura active, you consume it and gain an overflow aura for 10 seconds, granting you and up to 3 other group members 307 weapon and spell damage. It's a pretty interesting set, actually. First you proc it with a heavy attack, and then while you have this aura for the next 10 seconds, you can do another heavy attack to give weapon and spell damage to you and other people, in your 4-man group, in addition to getting that magic and stand recovery. I would say the most optimal use of this set would be initiating the imbued aura, waiting until it hits 9 seconds on duration, and then dealing damage either like on the 9-second dot or as it's about to run out, so you get that weapon and spell damage. But obviously can argue the opposite, like you should heavy attack again immediately as soon as possible just to get that weapon and spell damage immediately. But you have to take note that this effect can occur once every 20 seconds, so it's a 10-second cooldown, effectively. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's not too bad. I think it's an interesting concept that they could potentially apply to other sets in the future. Rush of Agony. Medium armor set. Stamina recovery, weapon and spell damage, offensive penetration. When you deal direct damage with a blink, charge, leap, teleport, or pull ability, pull enemies within 10 meters to you. So it's basically like the Void Bash for the Vanishing Sword Board, except instead of bashing, you just have to directly damage them with a blink, which is like streak. Charge. Well, actually, no, I think the blink is referring to like ambush. Sorry, charge is like Sword and Board. Leap is like werewolf or dragon leap. Teleport is streak, and pull is, you know, silver leash or chains. Then after 2 seconds, deal physical damage to all enemies within 7 meters. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. The pull, this is really interesting, will not apply crowd control immunity to the target. But I'm gonna guess if they are already CC immune, that they will not be pulled. Otherwise, it'd be broken. Like if this set pulls you, even if you have CC immunity, like in PvP or something, or even adds in, you know, dungeons or whatever, that's kind of broken. It'd be kind of a nice quality of life in a way for groups who keep running like 8 pets that stun ads, but I don't know. I don't think that should happen. Okay, we expect to see a lot of power from this set with its ability to pull enemies without applying crowd control. In early internal playtesting, we experimented both with and without CC immunity application, and with it, the pull from this set felt challenging to engage with, as their goal was to keep everyone clumped up for a long period of time for the boom, but you couldn't do it. With no CC immunity application, we hope there's both enough time to get out before you get hit with a big stun like Dawnbreaker or Smiting, and the explosion from the set, and enough room to try and deny your opponent to do that. Note that the set's pull will still respect CC immunity and not pull targets. Okay, well, they talked about it. Crimson Oath's Rive. That's a heavy armor set. This is basically a set. Well, let me just read it over. Armor mitigation, max health. I don't know what to feel about the armor mitigation lines. I think, well, I think I can see arguments for where it's useless and where it's useful, depending on your armor weight, like medium armor. And this could be on your sword and board / jewelry. When you use an ability that applies a major or minor buff to yourself or an ally, send out a wave of energy that reduces the armor of nearby enemies within 12 meters by 35-41 for 15 seconds. This is actually more than Alkosh. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds, will only occur if an enemy is within range. This is, in every way possible, better than Alkosh, because you don't need to aim with a synergy. With this set, you don't need to face towards an enemy you want to debuff. You don't, I mean, it's a pretty far range too, around you, 12 meter range around you. I think a lot of groups will start using this set. Tanks especially. I mean, Alkosh is a medium armor set, take that into account. So there's a lot of pros with this set, so we'll see what happens here. We hope this set will become a core group set. See what we did there? I don't get it. Core group set. COR. Oh, the the initials of I'm like, the fuck are they talking about? I was like, did they misspell core? Okay, well, whatever. Oh man, sure, yeah, I see what you did there. God damn, sheesh. Oh boy. Okay, well anyway. Magma Incarnate. Monster set. Mag Recovery, Stam Recovery. The 2-piece bonus is when you heal yourself or a group member with a single target heal ability, grant the lowest health group member within 28 meters Minor Courage and Minor Resolve, increasing their weapon and spell damage by 215 and armor by 2974 for 10 seconds.
Sheesh.
Daedric Energy will then bounce to a nearby group member up to 3 times, applying Minor Courage and Minor Resolve for 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. It's a pretty fun looking set. I mean, it's gonna mimic the Harvester's ability where the AoE bounces from group member to group member. As for how effective it may be for like raids, probably not very effective. I mean, for 4-man, maybe. For PvP, maybe. We'll see, I don't know. It is, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The Daedric Energy will always prioritize lower health group members that have not already been hit by Magma. Okay, that's cool. Red Petal Bastion. This is a set name named after the dungeon. Okay. Oh, no, sorry. Thundercaller, excuse me. I was reading this. I was like, wait, this is the set name? Never mind. Adds offensive penetration, weapon and spell damage, Dealing damage with a fully charged heavy attack, calls a bolt of lightning at your target, dealing shock damage and leaving a 4-meter lightning crater at their location for 6 seconds. Dealing shock damage per second to enemies touching the crater. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. It's basically for a heavy attack build. It's basically like a 5-piece set for a Lambris. Although, I think it's a little bit bigger than Lambris. I don't know how many meters a Lambris is. I think Lambris is like 3 meters, isn't it? Okay, anyway. Grizzly Gourmet, medium armor set. Max Stam, weapon and spell damage, offensive penetration, and max stamina. Dealing light attack damage grants you a stack of Baker's Delight for 5 seconds. When you gain 3 stacks, you create a sweet roll next to your target for 5 seconds. If you or an ally touches that sweet roll, both you and your ally gain one of the following effects and can be random. You get health, magic, and stamina back, you get Empower, or you get Major Force. I think it's a fun set. I think it's a really fun set. Keep in mind that this could also be used not just for, dungeons, but potentially, PvP. Who knows? It's for some sort of like a small group. Anyway, this effect can occur once every 2 seconds. Alright. Silver Rose Vigil, heavy armor set. Max stamina, max health, max stamina. Blocking attack grants you a stack of Realm Shaper for 15 seconds, gaining up to 1 stack every half a second. When you reach 3 stacks, you consume them and launch necrotic energy at your attacker, dealing magic damage and applying major main for 12 seconds, reducing their damage done by 10%. Once you fire necrotic energy, you cannot gain additional stacks of Realm Shaper for 12 seconds. Damage scales off of your max health. PvP. Yeah. We'll see what happens here. Alright. Prior Theoric, or Thick. Monster Mask set. Adds weapon and spell damage. The 2-piece bonus is dealing direct damage with an area effect ability. Creates a 6-meter shadowy whirlwind below your enemy for 7 seconds. Enemies within the whirlwind take physical damage each second and increase their damage done taken from your area effect abilities by 5%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Reminds me of the Aegis Caller set in a way, but at the same time, this 5% buff to your AoE ability, I mean, it'd be kinda insane if it was everybody's AoE abilities by 5%. That'd be too broken. But this could be a consideration, potentially, for Stam DPS. We'll see. I mean, that's significant, in my opinion. Probably it's calculated not even as 5%, though. It's probably a little less than that. Alright, we got new collectibles, outfit styles, and dyes. I'm not really going to read over these things, really. New furnishings, cool. New achievements and titles. Of the Silver Rose, Seeker of Artifacts, the Dreaded Incarnate. New motifs. Okay, the Soulzan motif can be obtained by the Rockru weekly quest. The associated style item, the Deathhopper vocal sack, can be obtained by defeating Rockru bosses. The other motif is a Blackfin motif, obtained by completing Blackwood Delve dailies. Ugh. Alright. PvP campaign changes. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. For Update 31, the existing No CP, Cyrodiil, and Imperial City campaigns will now also prohibit sets from proc sets from firing. Wait, what? Wait. The existing what? What's the point? I thought they would add like a new campaign. Like a completely different campaign. But they're just gonna turn the no CP campaigns into no procs. I don't know, that okay. What an interesting decision. I'm assuming it probably was based off maybe population density potentially, or I don't know. I don't see the point personally. I kind of want to see a champion points enabled Cyrodiil and Imperial City without proc sets. You know what I mean? Like, why can't we have both? But whatever, I guess. As a refresher, the following sets were not affected by this rule set when it was originally implemented back in February. Okay, let's just give you another list. The same list for the no proc test that we had to undergo. The following sets will function with these campaign rules during this week's PTS patch and when Update 31 launches. So, in compared to the original list, we seem to have other things like Battlefield Acrobat. God, it's hard to like go back and forth. I mean, they should have made it a side by side or something. Night Terror, I think. Yeah, there's some new additions to this list. Alteration Mastery, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Seducers, probably. Where's Seducers? They put Alteration Mastery, but not Seducers? Huh. Okay. In the coming weeks, the following sets will be added and will be included with the Update 31 launch. Okay, there we go. Seducer. I think I missed it. No, they added it. Okay. So this is the final list. Wow. Okay. This is the final list that they intend to go with for the no proc campaigns. For the no proc and no CP campaigns. Who's... Come on. Is there a point to this one? Really? Crushing wall? Why? Oh man, oh man. Oh my god. I can't wait to go to Zerodead in the no CP, no proc campaign and, you know, put down a wall on that sniper and lie attack him. What the fuck? Oh my god. I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited. Oh my god. Alright, anyway. Yeah, okay. Well, whatever. Put the wall down in entryways? Ugh, come on, man. Let's not try to justify this shit. Alright, anyway. Rewards for the worthy. Okay, they got 3 new item sets. Alright. We've added 3 new item sets to be acquired through rewards for the worthy. Dark Conversions Light Armor set. Max Magicka, Offensive Penetration, Weapon and Spell Damage. Casting abilities that leave an effect on the ground will create an area that applies a 30% snare and pulls enemies every 2 seconds after a half a second delay, and stuns them for a second. After 4 seconds, the area deals magic damage to all enemies in the area and additional magic damage to enemies within 3 meters of the center, increasing the damage by 10% for each target. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. And yes, no CP, no proc will have no Bone Drung either. I don't know what to really think about this set. Dark Convergence. Abilities that leave an effect on the ground, so AoE abilities. Applies a 30% snare. And pulls enemies every 2 seconds. after a half a second delay. How big is the area though? It's at least 3 meters, right? Because it says additional magic damage to the enemies within 3 meters of the center. So within the center of the circumference of the AoE. So it's at least 3 meters. So it could be double that. It could be a 6-meter AoE. It's definitely something that could be used against ball groups. Maybe. Potentially. Depending on how big the AoE is. This set was designed with one goal in mind. Kill large groups. I don't know how it's gonna kill large groups? Wait, what? I guess the additional magic damage. Plus the proc damage. Pesky Zerg sitting on your keep or resource flag, send them to the void by pairing the set with some hard CCs and immobilizes. Maybe. Plague Break, medium armor set. Offensive penetration, weapon and spell damage, weapon and spell damage. Dealing direct damage to an enemy turns them into a plague carrier for 10 seconds. Dealing disease damage over the duration. If the plague is removed early, it explodes, infecting enemies within 8 meters of the carrier, dealing disease damage. The explosion deals an additional 10% per enemy hit. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds and scales off the higher your weapon and spell damage. Wow. Okay. I think they're going after ball groups. Similar to Dark Convergence, we've targeted large groups again with this set, focusing on their ability to have numerous purges running, making them locked down and bleeding down incredibly difficult to do so. Now, larger groups must purge more carefully, running the risk of setting off ticking time bombs, and having to heal up the aftermath instead of repeatedly casting it with reckless abandon. Ball groups. They shouldn't say large groups. They should say ball groups. Large groups, anyone can kill a Zerg. It's just ball groups that are more difficult to pinpoint, right? Because how the set works, when you apply this effect of plague carrier, if for it lasts for 10 seconds, and ball groups keep up purges. And the purge will make that person explode, dealing more disease damage. And that explosion deals an additional 10% per enemy hit. It's basically a proxy death in the form of a medium armor set that applies disease damage as well, which is insane. So it's a ball group. It's a ball group counter, which I think is okay, but I can still see other ways a ball group can circumvent this. You could spread out a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. So if it's purged, it spreads. If it's purged, it explodes, right? And deals, yeah, it basically spreads. But it also deals an additional 10% more damage. So imagine a 12-man ball group. You infect one of them, their purge goes off, everybody gets hit, and it's an additional 10% per enemy hit. And, it scales off of weapon or spell damage. It's a really strong set. It's a really strong set. But I think this is gonna do two things. The first thing it's gonna do is force ball groups to kind of change up what they've been doing. And the second thing is, and this is the problem with certain things like proxy that ball groups can also use this set. So we'll see, I guess. I mean, imagine Zergs. Imagine those Meteor Mayhem Zergs. They're just gonna die faster, dude. But anyway, we'll see. I think it's a nice counter against the constant purging of ball groups, but I'm kind of curious what ball groups will think about this. But I'm sure they've probably, some of the people, you know, watching this or reading the patch notes have already come up with countermeasures or already thinking of countermeasures against the set. Alright. Hrothgar's Chill Heavy Armor Set, maximum health, armor mitigation, offensive penetration. Stunning or immobilizing your enemy causes them to burst with frost magic, applying the chilled stats effect and dealing 26% of their total physical and spell resistances frost damage to themselves and enemies within 8 meters of them. Okay. Also a PvP set, I would say, because it is a heavy armor set, right? But I guess you could also put this on weapons and jewelry for DPS, or Magicka DPS who want to use frost staves. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a considerably strong option for either PvE or PvP. That's pretty cool. I like Hrothgar's Chill. Alright, Multithreaded Rendering in beta is an optional performance optimization available in the video settings panel. This option enables a separate thread for the render process which can improve performance and provide a smoother overall experience. The limiting factor in your device is CPU processing rather than GPU processing. The setting changes only apply after a client restart. Please note if you have this option enabled, you may hear your PC graphics card working hard during loading screens. This is expected with the frame rate now being uncapped during loading. This feature is in the beta, so if you experience any negative effects, please disable it. I'm not enabling this. I'm not enabling this, and you know, there's only really one reason why. You know, GPUs and CPUs and all the computer parts right now are in such high demand and so expensive. If you don't want to like potentially fry your shit, I would not enable this. Nope. Interaction priority changes. We've added new rules for determining which things you'll interact with when there is potential conflict. Generally speaking, interactable objects that are valuable, such as resource nodes and lootable corpses, will have high priority over things that are mobile or player made, such as companions and mementos. Okay. You should also have less of a problem attempting to interact with doors, die stations, and other programs. Huh, okay. So, you can't kick the door anymore. For those of you who kept kicking doors in trials. Or dungeons. And I guess, even if there are like 10,000 pets around the writ boxes, it doesn't matter anymore. So, we'll see. I don't know if there's like a negative consequence to this. I don't think so. Unless it breaks like synergy somehow. That's probably very unrelated. Anyway, mail reply. We've added a reply option to received mail, which will open a new mail with the subject line and player name pre-populated. Finally! It's been more than 7 years, let's go! New collectibles. Update 31 brings a few new collectibles and items. Okay. What? Oh, like, style. Okay, I was like, sets? It's just like style pages. Emotes. The war game trebuchet can be obtained. I want that emote. By earning the Siege Specialist achievement. The Grave Elegance mask can be obtained by earning the Lawrence Liaison achievement. Alright, new homes. Sweetwater Cascades. Oh, great. More waterfalls. I'm gonna assume Doomchar Plateau also has waterfalls or lava falls. Okay. New furnishings. More furnishings. More furnishings. Prologue quest. Okay. Template information. That's for PTS users. Alright. Fixes and improvements. Wait. Okay. companion, Sigil portals. Blah 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 blah. Bastion snakes will now correctly fire abilities as intended in Rock Grove. Rock Grove Trial will now drop 3 perfected set items rather than 2 when completed in hard mode. Okay, cool. Flame Herald Basset will now play appropriate interrupt animations when she is interrupted by Crushing Shock or Venom Arrow. Dova Flies will no longer appear in Blackwood. Okay, quests and zones. Quests and zones. Quests and zones. There really isn't much, honestly. Okay, there we go. Combat and abilities. Okay, they drastically improved the backend scripting of Taunt to be more responsive and follow its intended rules better. This should fix multiple issues where taunts would sometimes lose target context, exhibit issues when cast from a range, and had race conditions where some parts of the hidden behaviors, such as taunt immunity, would still apply to a target even if you failed to taunt them. Are they finally fixing taunt? Is there... will there be no more... I taunted it, and the taunt didn't go off, but I used my Stam or Magicka. Cool, I hope. Updated Break Free to follow a more consistent cost rule. Okay. This will reduce situations where it could desync your Stam bar, as well as improving the response time and validating if you have enough resources to cast it. Many bonuses that reduce its cost have also been changed to be handled naturally by the server, rather than as an ability. To speed up the validation cases where you are using many of them. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Increase the damage taken reduction from the Battle Spirit passive to 55%, up from 44%. So the Battle Spirit change is pretty interesting. You're adding more mitigation to it, because as I said, the time to kill a player is significantly shorter than they would like. After recent adjustments to base character stats, champion points, and item set scaling, we've seen a significant shift in the meta in ways that we wanted, in many cases. In other areas, primarily burst damage and overall time to kill, we've seen a pretty radical shift to something that's dangerously low. In efforts to expand the window of TTK, we were upping the effective base player damage reduction from 50% to 60%. Remember that players naturally take 10% less damage now, which is why Battle Spirit was reduced to 44%. To preserve the original 50%. So it's, in essence, 55% from 44%. The following passives and player abilities now grant hybrid stats to help improve their viability and accessibility to off-meta builds, because we love them too. Okay. Agility now grants equal weapon and spell damage. That's cool to see, I guess, yeah. Balanced Warrior, they talked about this in the Update 31 combat preview. It's gonna just give both physical and spell resistance. However, you are losing out on what is this? About somewhere around 3% mitigation on spell resistance from the Templar passive Balanced Warrior. So yeah, I don't know, but you get physical mitigation too. So it's a kind of a trade-off here. Now grants equal weapon and spell damage values. Brutal Carnage's bonus now grants equal weapon and spell damage values. Concentration now grants equal offensive pen. What? Okay, this is very interesting. Now grants equal offensive penetration. This is a light armor passive, concentration. So it will give armor penetration not just for mag DPS, but Stam DPS. Is stamina back? Is stamina back? Obviously, the extreme example would be like 7 light armor pieces on, Stam DPS. But I don't think so. That's just too extreme. It's gonna be 5-1-1. It's gonna be a 5-1 or 5-2 setup. And by that I mean 5 medium armor, 1 light armor, 1 heavy armor. Or 5 medium armor and 2 light armor. So that could be something interesting to see here, really. Dexterity, this is a medium armor passive, now increases critical damage and healing done per piece worn. up to 2% the final rank, rather than just weapon critical, as Prodigy now grants weapon critical as well. Okay, they increase the crit damage. Is stamina back? Is stamina back? Anyway. Flawless Dawnbreaker now grants equal weapon and spell damage values. Prodigy now grants equal crit chance. This is kind of weird. Because they removed the critical rating from the medium armor passive because the light armor passive had critical. So do they want medium DPS to actually wear 5.2 or 5.11 now? Because light armor, light armor, medium armor. You lost crit value, but you gain crit damage on medium armor. But you can get the crit value and the armor pen from light armor. So this is I don't know. Savage Strength now grants equal weapon and spell damage values. Scaled armor. This is a nerf and buff at the same time for DK, just like the Templar passive was. But again, you're trading off some of your spell resistance for, you know, physical mitigation. So I think that's okay. I think it's whatever. Now grants equal weapon and spell damage value. Slayer. That's the Fighters Guild passive. The more, you know, Fighters Guild skills you have on your bar, the more weapon and now spell damage you get. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Fixed multiple issues with ability bar timers displaying incorrect durations. Okay. Fixed numerous issues with synergies family being considered ability casts. Fixed an issue where abilities in the new AoE scripting for update 30. Okay. Adjusted many player abilities no longer ability. Okay, they talked about this a lot in the update 31 combat preview. Okay. They just want to make stealthing or being invisible a bit more, you know, consistent. For those of you who didn't read the update 31 combat preview, you'll still have dots on you. I think they mentioned that they didn't want the dots to be suppressed in stealth. So, you know, attacks made with detection potions active may still damage the target, but will not strip their stealth or invisibility. Yeah. Wait, what? Are drops on? No way. I didn't know. Alright, Dragon Knight? Dragon Knight, Earthen Heart, Magma Armor. Wait, sorry, I skipped a bunch. Fix an issue where multiple heals based on damage over time when not considered healing over time, such as Blood Craze. Fix an issue where crit chance and damage for successful sneak attacks could be in some cases applied to multiple attacks at once. Okay, so it should only be the initial attack. Magma Armor, Corrosive Armor. Fixed an issue where the penetration check on direct damage for this morph was not consistent with their sources. And thanks for the 500 minis, defending. And thanks for the follows and subs so far, guys. We're almost done, I think. Okay. Molten Weapons. Fix an issue where you cannot cast this ability or its morphs can on nearby enemies. Okay. Boneyard, Necromancer. Fixed an issue where this morph's damage was not considered an AoE attack. Oh man. Anyway, Flame Skull, the bonus damage from this ability in its morph's third cast has now been built into their damage coefficients rather than as a bonus modifier effect. This will clean up some calculation errors that result in less damage than intended when stacking multiple bonuses. Okay then, that's cool. Nightblade, Shadowcloak. Fixed an issue where this ability and morph's protections could work even if the attacker had a detection potion active. Sorcerer, Stormcalling, Overload. Light attacks from this ultimate and morphs now break stealth when cast. Oh! What the? There's nothing sneaky about lobbing giant bolts of lightning at your foes. Alright, guys. Alright. Wow. Interesting. Max works back, guys. Max works back. Just gonna PvP. put on overload and just fucking light attack stand blades and mag blades. They can't stealth. Oh man. Alright. Templar, Dawn's Wrath Backlash. This ability is morphs, now retain 50% of the damage you dealt to the target, up from 20% to be more reliable in player versus player encounters. Oh, okay. Interesting. They buffed Templar. Wow. Okay. Purifying Light for Magplars. Podle for Stamplars. Finally, we don't just have to cast jabs. We have to actually cast Podle again. That's pretty good. I don't know. That's pretty good. Alright, the final explosion now scales off your weapon or spell damage, depending on the morph, rather than magic or stamina. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's pretty good too. The final explosion now also scales with both positive and negative bonuses, rather than only negative ones. Haha, backlash go boom. I bet you, like, 2 patches from now, they'll probably nerf it to like 30% or 40%. Because of PvP, so we'll see. Radiant Destruction. Fix an issue where both morphs of this ability had scaling coefficients with less significant figures than intended, resulting in some very minor loss damage. Huh. This morph no longer increases the damage done of the ability based on your current magic for Radiant Depression, or Jesus Beam as many players call it, but instead increases the damage scaling of the execute multiplier to 500%! What the fuck? This should retain roughly the overall maximum power of the morph, but with far less micromanagement. So, yeah, like scale-wise, it will be roughly the same, but overall it will be much better. Because now you have, because, for example, you know, a lot of mag DPS such as, you know, Zendikay, Macro, Magblade, they're using Base's Mania. And Base's Mania, you have to, you know, basically micromanage your max Magicka pool. Low enough that, you know, you get more of the damage modifier, but high enough that you don't run out of sustain completely. For Magplars, this was kind of bad because your Radiant Impression scaled off of your max Magicka, or how much max Magicka you had left. But now with this gone, Magplars can wear buffs. So basically, this entire section is Magplar buffs. So Magplar buffs, easy. Alright, so Warden, Green Balance. This passive now grants Major Mending for 4 seconds on proc, up from 3 seconds. A slight buff to the Warden class. Is stand back yet? Winter's Embrace, Frozen Gate. The ability in Morph's traps now lasts 15 seconds rather than 30 seconds. That's okay. It's gonna be a little inconvenient for certain fights, but... or rather, certain arenas, like, you know, Dragonstar. But you know, whatever. 15 seconds is still very long. Fixed an issue where in some cases these abilities could remove themselves before their timer ran out. Destruction Staff. Okay. Ancient Knowledge. This passive now better discerns what is an AoE attack and what isn't with its bonus damage based on your staff type. Increase the bonuses on both the Inferno and Lightning Staff types to 10%, up from 8%. To help better match the power of Twin Blade and or Heavy Weapons Grant. What? I don't know if... okay, well, whatever. So basically they buffed Destro Staff. For, specifically the Lightning and Inferno staves. Huh. But I'm kind of curious what they meant with this. What's an area of effect attack? Better discerns what is an AoE and what isn't. We'll see. Destructive Touch. This ability is more now guaranteed to guarantee their respective element type status effect on hit. Okay, that's kind of scary and also cool at the same time. Increase the cost to 2970, up from 2700, to incorporate the added auxiliary effect. Huh. Increase the range to 15 meters from 14 meters for better consistency, since Destructive Clench was already 15 meters. The Frost Touch and Reach versions of the ability now deal 80% more damage on its initial hit, to make them more equal to other ranged spammable attacks, to give love to those Frost DPS out there. The Frost version of this ability still remains tank focused rather than DPS focused, and as such has received a cost reduction to 1485, down from 2700. It also applies Major Main for 5 seconds at rank 4. What? What the fuck is going on, dude? Wow. Okay, this is a lot to take in actually, because these little changes culminate in pretty big changes in my opinion. Let's break it down here. The guaranteed of the status effect on hit. Wow. This is pretty big, particularly for, you know, frost tanking or frost staff tanking, because now there's a reason to slot something else besides inner fire, right? For your destructive clench. Because the main complaint with destructive clench for, you know, frost staff tanking was, why would I slot something that has such a short range compared to inner fire? And this could be a reason why. At the same time though, making it attractive for supports kind of takes it away from DPS in some ways, but I think that's sort of something we'll leave up to, you know, players to kind of test. The Frost Touch and Reach versions now deal 80% ability, 80% more damage. Huh. But what's getting me is a Major Maim here. For 5 seconds? That's like... that's pretty significant for both PvP and PvE scenarios. Stam or mag, tank or DPS, so this is gonna be interesting. With the introduction of the Frostbite set and Update 30, we saw a lot of discussion on the viability of frost damage sets and how their main drawback, regardless of the power, was that there was no frost damaging ability that could be used as a spammable attack. Okay. Rather than bloating those sets further, we decided to let Frost Touch and its morph stand out. Frost Touch and Reach now deal ranged spammable damage on the initial hit. Additionally, Frost Clench has been missing the mark for being a viable taunt compared to Puncture and Fire. Okay, so they basically said what I said. So we decided to amp it up by introducing a source of on-demand Major Maim while also reducing the cost. The changes to the base ability also help to gain a form of an on-demand Minor Brittle, helping both DPS and tanks out regardless of the morph. That's something I didn't really think about. Minor Brittle. Is it possible now to just 1-bar Frost more? Well, I think that needs some testing. Elemental Force. This passive now properly states it affects all status effect chances rather than only elemental status effects. Force Shock. This ability's morphs can now again be reflected. What? What the heck? Okay. You used to be able to reflect Force Shock or Force Pulse or whatever, Crushing Shock. Then they made it so that it's not reflectable. Now they're making it reflectable again. Come on. Alright, let's see what happens here. Once upon a time, a special role was made for those abilities to not be, as it interacted poorly with charged reflect skills such as ye old reflective scales, which have been clipped. Therefore, this behavior is irrelevant and inconsistent. Okay. So now you can reflect Force Shock and its morphs. Wall of Elements. Fix an issue where Wall of Fire and its morphs bonus damage against burning targets didn't work past 9 seconds, meaning the final 5 seconds of blockade of fire cannot benefit from it. Weakness to Elements. The morph of Elemental Susceptibility. This morph now persists indefinitely until the target leaves combat or dies, rather than lasting 20 seconds and refreshing whenever they take damage from you. So, Elemental Drain is Minor Magical Steel, right? Wait, they're both Minor Magical Steel, aren't they? No, it's not. What the hell is... I forget the other morph. It's been so long. Yeah, Susceptibility. Alright, what is this? Increases the range. That's it? Oh my god. That's it. It just gives major breach. Doesn't give minor magical steal. Well, it's still fucking Garbo. So whatever, I guess. Dual wield. Flurry. Bloodthirst more. Okay. Let's see what they did. Is stamina back yet? This morph now heals for up to 33% damage done per hit, rather than up to 63% of the final hit's damage done. This will result in a slightly more healing effectiveness and more responsive healing as well. Okay. That's interesting. They buffed it. 33% per hit. Okay. Resto Staff. Absorb. This passive now procs on any successful block rather than only against spells, which was already a half-truth as it procced on plenty of non-spells as well. Increase the restore to 300 or 600 magic and proc, up from 288 or 540. This passive now has a 250 millisecond internal cooldown. Essence Rain. Increases duration of major mending to 4 seconds from 3, so it's like Warden, they're standardizing the passives. This passive now heals a friendly target within 12 meters of the enemy you heavy attack, up from 6 meters. Wow, okay. Increase the healing done to 50% and damage done. Fix an issue from 30%. Fix an issue or disability. Passive could critically strike, okay. No double crits allowed at the dinner table. Healing Springs Morph. Remove the visual effects for the magical restore and disability to help reduce visual clutter. Nessia, Life Giver Morph. Fix an issue with a short window of time where all spells could cost nothing after activating this ability. Fix another issue. Two-handed Berserker Strike. Fix an issue where the penetration check was not consistent. Okay, Cleave. Alright. This ability and the Carve Morph now apply a damage shield on you when cast equal to the scaling coefficients on the initial hit. It does not grant a shield based on damage done. Okay. Increase the cost of all versions to 3,510, up from 3,240. Adjusted the area of all versions to hit in a 300-degree arc within a 5-meter radius. What? 300 degrees? What? How does that work? Like... 300 degrees with a 5-meter radius. That's like... That's going behind you. It's going behind you. Okay. But it's currently a 140-degree arc with a 7-meter radius. Okay. To help make it more clear which attack should land... This makes it less clear. What the fuck is going on? Okay. Wow. Alright. Brawler Morph. Increase the base size of this morph's damage shield by approximately 7%. That's a buff. The bleed from this morph can now stack up to 3 times. Blood for the Blood God. Wait. Carve. Is stamina back? Is stamina back? So, the issue with Carve versus Brawler was that, you know, you would spam Carve anyway, and it would reset the bleed ticks. But now the bleed will stack up to 3 times. This is pretty significant for either trash or boss fights, in my opinion. Wow, okay. They're buffing 200 more and more. Brawler is currently the clear winner. Yeah, it is, because it gives you a shield. Even if you don't hit anything, it gives you a shield. Carve, you reset the bleed tick, so it's like, wow. Will you let the blood flow for you and your enemy, or staunchly stand in their faces? Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. This especially, up to 3 times. I wish they kind of did this for like the Black Rose prison Destro with Impulse, or the other morph of it. Like where you can like you basically reset the dot, right? So it's kind of worthless because you're spamming it. But this is a really good change. I think, yeah, this is a considerable buff, in my opinion, for Stam DPS in trials, or dungeons. Alright. Armor, light armor, annulment, harness magicka morph. Fixed an issue, you can get more than 3 magicka restores from this ability per cast. Okay. Soul magic, soul lock. This passes that procs on any killing blow, rather than only killing blows with a weapon attack. Remember the video effects. Soul summons. Fixed an issue where this ultimate and morphs reveal was not a negative effect, and therefore could not be purged or was visible in your buff tracker. Vampiric Drain. This ability and its morphs now heal for 25% of your missing health per tick, up from 23%. Okay. This morph now ranks up 1 additional ultimate per rank, which would be 5. Oh. Huh. Drain Vigor. The morph now gains 1% missing first. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Fighter's Guild. Expert Hunter. This ability and the Camouflage Hunter morph now reveals hidden enemies within 8 meters of you. Up from 6 meters. Oh my god, thank god. Thank the gods, dude. They need to do something with the active cast of this, because I don't know, like when some of you guys watch me PvP sometimes, and I'm on top of a fucking Nightblade, I cast Camo Hunter, and I know I'm on top of it, it doesn't work. So it's weird, but I think them increasing the range could potentially fix that. All versions of this ability now check for hidden enemies every 500 milliseconds instead of once every second. Okay, that's cool. All versions of this ability now prevent stealth and invisibility for 4 seconds, up from 3 seconds. Wow. Massive counterplay against stealthers. Hidden passive in this ability's morphs now only highlight player werewolves and vampires rather than any undead, Daedra, or werewolf creature. This change was done to better represent the targets your skill tracker bonus works again. So I guess you can't see them in PvE anymore, but in PvP still. This morph now also increases the radius of the reveal to 12 meters. Okay. Skill tracker. This passive now increases your damage with fighter's skill abilities with 10% and an additional 10% against werewolves and vampires. So it's only against players. This passive is currently attempting to validate a very long list of specific target checks on the back end to apply its damage bonus. Rather than continuing this, it will only check 3 things instead of 23 things each time you deal damage while retaining its flavor in PvP environment. So PvE kind of misses out on the damage done against any Daedra, undead, or werewolf, but it's still active in PvP by up to 20%, up from 10%. Yeah. Yo, what's up, J-Hart? Thanks for a raid. How you doing? Nef, move your game window. It's blocking text. Huh? Hello? You saw what I wrote. I know you did. What? I'm not reading chat right now, guys. So, I'm just reading the patch notes. Welcome in. Move my game window again. Alright, anyway. Trap Beast. This ability and its morphs now lasts for 15 seconds under delay rather than 1 minute. But yeah, welcome in, Raiders. Thanks, J-Hart. We're just reviewing patch notes. I think we're almost done. Pretty, so far, as a summary, lots of interesting changes. Lots of, well, I wouldn't say lots yet, but significant buffs for Stam DPS, Frost DPS, Frost Staff tanking. Really interesting implementations for PvP. Some of which is debatable. So I guess it's kind of the usual, we'll see. Mage's Guild, Fire Rune, now lasts for 15 seconds under delay rather than 30 seconds. Okay, so pre-buffing is a bit more, I mean, it's whatever. Mage Light. This ability and inner light morph now reveal hidden enemies within 8 meters of you, up from 6 meters. All versions of this ability now check for hidden enemies every half a second instead of every second for more responsive catching of those slippery targets. All versions of this ability now prevent stealth and invisibility for 4, just like Ham Winter, okay. Subject order? Okay, this is interesting. Deliberation, this passive no longer grants mage protection, and instead applies a unique 30%. A unique 30% unique unique 30% unique damage mitigation to get this passive's power back to where it was meant to be. Wait. That's the... It's strong. It's strong now. It's like Iron Blood. Imagine stacking this with Iron Blood. Imagine stacking this with Iron Blood, major protection, minor protection, and all the sources of mitigation you can get. That's cool, I guess. But you have to be channeling, right? Channeling or casting a Sigil Order ability. Imbue Weapon. Crushing Weapon Morph. This morph now applies major breach to the target hit for 6 seconds rather than healing for 25% of the damage caused to help ensure the thing being crushed was in your dreams. What the... Wait, what? This is the stand morph of Ellie Weapon. Major breach to the target hit for 6 seconds rather than healing for 25% of the damage caused to help ensure the thing being crushed was in your dreams. Huh. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Hold on, I'm like getting like big brain ideas right now. For like a stam comp. But we'll see, we'll see. I'll share my thoughts maybe later if people are interested. Undaunted Inner Fire. This ability and morphs will now apply to unique visuals if this energy is successfully applied to the target. Fix an issue where Inner Fire and Rage replacing an extra negative effect on targets. The Inner Beast Morph. Increase this morph's damage taken bonus on the target 12% at base, up from 2%. What? 12% at base. That's insane! What the heck is going on? Okay. Huh. Wow. It isn't just gonna be for PvE or, you know, like off-tank DPS for PvE, or, you know, when I'm doing like BAA main tank, I DPS on the first 3 bosses, right? And I use Inner Beast. But this is quite significant. We'll see. I mean, more buffs. Is stand back yet? Is stand back? Alliance War, Magical Detonation. Reduce the base damage of this ability and its morphs by approximately 60%, but increases scaling per target at 100%, up from 25%. Okay. The abilities will now deal less damage than normal AoE spammable until it hits 3 or more targets. I don't know if you guys have watched the recent 3 Skeevers podcast. I actually made an appearance on that podcast, and we actually talked about stuff like this. I think a lot of players think mechanical acuity is like the primary reason why bombers or certain specs can just burst you, and you don't really have too much counterplay against that, but that's more the mechanism to fulfill that, rather than what's actually, you know... There was a time, a long time ago in ESO, where even in duels, you would slot Proxy Dead, and we're kind of approaching that point with Proxy Dead right now in PvP, where you can just basically bomb one person. So, the fact that it reduced the base damage by 60% is, I think, a good start to looking at things like that. Otherwise, it's still a very strong bombing or AoE ability. You have to hit 3 or more targets. And, you know, most bombers, actual bombers, not people who just gank with bombs, will hit 3 or more targets. So, they actually got a buff in regards to that, because they're getting up to 100% scaling per target, up from, you know, this past mid-year, up from 25%. They updated tooltip to state the scaling works on the initial target as well. Okay, this should reduce the potency of the skill against smaller groups while retaining its high damage against large ones. Yeah, I mean, fine. All right, Support, Revealing Flare. This ability in Morphs now prevents stealth and invisibility for 4 seconds, just like Camo Hunter, just like Inner Light now. This ability in Morphs now passively grant major protection while slotted, to ensure they did not feel lackluster to slot when not actively trying to deny stealth or invisibility, similarly to Mage Light or Expert Hunter granting major buffs. This was one of the things that I kind of knew about. The class reps had a recent meeting. My only worry about this is like you'll just slot it for that major protection on your front bar or whatever, or your back bar, doesn't matter, without using it. So I'm interested to see how players will actually use this. Will they actually use it to reveal people, or will they actually use it to get the major protection, just the major protection? And I think in a lot of ways, depending on who you are in PvP, you'll do both. You'll use it passively for the major protection. I mean, major, you know what I mean? And you use it to, you know, get the gankers out of your way, right? So I think this is going to be a very highly used skill potentially for a lot of people. For PvE, where this kind of stands, you could potentially front bar it as a tank. Maybe.
I don't know how to read, so thank you Nefas Qs for reading these patch notes out loud for us.
You're welcome, Cav. Thanks for learning biddings. Alright, so yeah, big buff to Revealing Flare. But we'll see. Fitness, they added 3 new sub-constellations to this tree, focusing on more core combat gameplay interaction, as well as focusing on more universal engagement for PvE encounters. Okay. Wind Chaser, let's see what it does. The Wind Chaser sub-constellation consists of 3, I'm gonna assume, slotables. Yeah. Celerity increases your movement speed by 2% per stage, so up to 10% movement speed. Drill the Hunt. Whenever you kill an enemy, you gain Measure Expedition for 3 seconds per stage. So that's 6 seconds of Measure Expedition. It's basically a CP version of False Gods. Refreshing Stride. You gain 100 health and magic recovery per stage, while sprinting 5 stages, 10 points per stage. So that's 500 health and recovery. Health and magic recovery while you sprint. This is kind of the Windrunner passive we used to have back in CP 1.0. While sprinting, 500 magicka and health recovery. This is going to be pretty interesting. So I like that they're adding more slotable choices. Survivor's Spite sub-constellation, focusing on pushing back and fighting against the odds. Sustained by Suffering. This sums up some of our experiences. Increases your health, magic, and stamina recovery by 30 per stage while under the effects of a negative effect. So you're gonna have 100 up to 150 magicka and stam and health recovery at most, while you have a effect on you, like a negative debuff on you. Pain's Refuge reduces your damage taken by 1% per negative effect on you, up to a maximum of 20%. So 20% is your max. So you need 20 debuffs on you. Okay. Relentlessness. Gain major protection for 3 seconds after being stunned or feared. Huh. But you see what I mean? I mean, why would you go with this when you can go with this? I don't know. You could argue bar space, but I don't know. It's whatever. Walking Fortress of Constellation. Focus on block and damage shields. Bracing Anchor. Increases block mitigation by 4% per stage, but lowers your movement speed by 16% at all stages. Block mitigation by 4% per stage. That's 20% more block mitigation. Well, yeah, for PvE, this is gonna make a lot of things interesting, at least for tanking, or potentially even like certain trials or certain fights where you can also potentially block as DPS or a healer. But also for PvP, I don't know how to feel about this one, because We're getting more mitigation from Battle Spirit. And it's not like we're really hard pressed to make choices right now with the current slottables we have. I mean, would I slot Ironclad or Rejuvenation over this? No, no way. As a you know, like someone who wants to live in PvP, or like one of those PvP tanks that just block for no reason. So I think for PvE it's a bit too strong because 20% more damage mitigation from blocking. I don't know. I mean, it could be interesting to see light armor tanks more, or medium armor tanking even more so in even much harder content. But I have a suspicion that this may be a bit too strong. I don't know. We'll see. Wardmaster reduces your damage taken by 2% while blocking with a damage shield active. 5 stages. 10 points per stage. This is also kind of strong. 10% damage mid with a damage shield active. What? Okay. Too much. I don't know. Soothing Shield. When you successfully block an attack, you have a 50% chance to restore about 1470 health. That's okay. That's not too bad. Ironclad. Rename this passive to Fortified to prevent confusion for legacy players, as the original Ironclad has made its return to Warfare. Oh, okay. They moved Ironclad to Warfare tree. This champion star makes a return as a slottable star, reducing damage taken from direct damage attacks by 2% per stage, so that's, you know, 10%. From direct damage attacks. Interesting. So, I wish I was in game. Maybe I should log in real quick just to show you guys in a bit, but again, this kinda is the 4th slot now for most tanks. Right now it's like your 3 main damage mitigation stars, unassailable, duelist buff, and that other one. And now this is Ironclad, so I guess that's cool. It's just more so now fitness has a bit more choices. Alright, updated several item sets to be more performant on the server. The following item sets can now be used in campaigns that do not allow item set procs. Let me see if I can, like... No, wait. Let me see if I can, like... No, I can't. Well, whatever. I'll do it later. Fix an issue where perfected item set pieces were not showing active bonuses correctly. Okay. The following item sets can now be used in campaigns that do not allow item set procs. Okay, this is another list. Ability altering weapons, frenzy momentum, multiple issues, okay. Consumables, so, you know, just in case anyone missed it, Prismatic Onslaught enchants are no more next patch. Instead of doing more damage to Daedra or Undead, you're just gonna get your health, magic, and stand back, and it's lame, yeah, but the only pro I can see as a result of this needed change, according to them, because, you know, it was going through too many checks on the server, as they say here. I guess you'll swap one less Maelstrom staff. Or something, or weapons that had prismatic. Now it's kind of just useless in my opinion. I don't know what the exact value is, but I think it's gonna be more for PvP potentially, more so than PvE. PvE tanking maybe. Alright, Pelinal's Aptitude. Rename this set to Pelinal's Wrath. I'm actually kind of curious here. This set now grants you a damage shield based on your weapon or spell damage, and a stack of Wrath of White Strike for 10 seconds whenever you kill an enemy. Wrath of White Strike grants you up to 100 weapon and spell damage per stack, but causes you to take 1% of your max health as a believing damage every second per stack. Okay. The set's 2 to 4 piece bonuses are weapon and spell damage, offensive penetration, weapon and spell damage rather than max health. Okay, that's cool. This set no longer causes your weapon and spell to be the highest. Okay, so the main 5 piece bonus is you can get, I guess, unlimited stacks of Wrath of Whitestrike every time you kill an enemy. But at the same time, you take 1% of your max health as Oblivion damage every second per stack. So, oh sorry, there's 10 stacks max, excuse me, 10 stacks. Or is it 10 stacks max for the Oblivion damage, or 10 stacks max for both the Oblivion damage and the weapon and spell damage? I'm gonna assume both. So that's 1,000 weapon and spell damage you can get. So you have to kill 10 people. So you have to kill 10 people to get 1,000 weapon and spell damage. But then you take 10% of your max health as Oblivion damage every second. Oh man. Okay, well, I don't know how useful this set's gonna be in actuality. We'll see. It says an enemy could be more of a PvE thing. PvP, I don't know. This is a bit too extreme. Oblivion damage can't really. Yeah, I don't know. It's very uncontrollable, you know, in PvP. We'll see. Dungeon and Arena. Okay, Overrun's Thunder, Azure Blight Reaper. Okay, Crusader was one of the sets that they changed. Crusader now grants you a damage shield based on your weapon and spell damage for 6 seconds. Increase an AoE beneath you for 10 seconds whenever you deal direct damage with a blink, charge, leap, teleport, or pull ability. Every 2 seconds, the area grants you and your members inside minor curves for 12 seconds. Huh. Okay. These effects can occur once every 20 seconds. The set's 2 through 4 piece bonuses are now weapon and spell damage, 2, 3, and 4, rather than max stamina recovery and max stam. This set no longer increases your dodge chance bonus of roll dodge by 0.3 seconds. Pestilent Host. This set can now stack between multiple wearers. Large groups beware. They are really out to get ball groups this patch. They really are. Pillar of Nirn. The initial hit from this set can now be properly blocked. Sunderflame. This set now has a 2.1 second cooldown to prevent situations where repeated heavy attacks prevented from dealing any damage. Okay. Unleash Terror. Fixed. Viper Sting. Adjusted. Kjalnar's Nightmare. Crags. Celine. No longer spawns a real spirit bear pet. Now summons a visual bear. What? Wait, what? Updated this set to no longer spawn a real spirit bear pet. Now summons a visual bear? What does that mean? Is it just a bear that just pops out of nowhere? A real... What? Real spirit bear? What's a real spirit bear pet? What's a visual bear? This is kind of confusing. Whatever, this is significant. Okay, I'm just gonna guess it somehow fixed performance. Celestrix, okay. Proc. The Storm Atrophyst can now be properly dispelled as it's pretty darn magical when you think about it. Okay. The set's disgusting spores no longer explode after hitting a target. Instead, now continue to travel in a straight line. Is stamina back? Is stamina back? Dude, what? Okay. Okay. Stamina? Waking Stam? Is it? It's not Waking Flame, it's Waking Stam. It's Waking Stam, people. Oh, man. Alright. Mythic items. Pearls of Enelfe, fixed an issue. Nicholas's heavy armor. Grants a stack of Nicholas's resolve for 5 seconds. Whenever you successfully block, which after 8 seconds, you consume them and completely avoid the next direct damage attack made against you within 5 seconds. 8 stacks. Grants a stack for 5 seconds. But you can do 8 seconds for 8 stacks. This seems still kinda lame, I don't know. No longer has a 25% chance on blocking spell projectiles or reflect them back to the attacker. We'll see. Sithis' Touch. Okay, this is gonna be really interesting. Now grants 5% movement speed for 30 seconds whenever you kill an enemy up to 20 times. Grants invisibility for 3 seconds when activating. Max stand, max magicka, and weapon and spell damage. No longer grants major berserk whenever you kill an enemy with the Blade of Woe. This and Adept Rider were probably the 2 worst sets. So we'll see how players handle this. Stygian now grants hybrid stats, okay. 4-piece bonus is offensive. This 5-piece bonus now requires you to be in combat to proc. So Stygian was one of the last couple or few pre-buff sets you could, use before initiating the fight in the trial. So that's a further address of pre-buff sets. Savara's Scales. Initial hit from this set can now be properly blocked. Fixed initial with a dot from this ability can be dodged and blocked in some cases. For his twin sisters. Galerian's Revenge. This proc, Meritorious Service, and Powerful Assault. Okay! Alright, let's see what they fixed here. Fixed an issue where these sets did not properly follow their intended sorting behavior with how they applied to targets. They will now prioritize nearby players to the wearer of the set that do not have the effect active already. They changed it. They completely... Okay, so... PA is now a smart buff. And Meritorious Service is also a smart buff. So we're gonna see a lot higher PA uptimes on a lot of people. So let's do that. PA was fixed. That's PA Meritorious. Not fixed, but yeah, fixed, basically. Templars can now PA buff. That's not how it worked. Anyway, Vice Cannon and Venom. The damage over time from this set can now stack for multiple users. Okay. Kind's Wind. Fixed an issue where the set would activate when you cast an ability while under the effects of a major buff. Roar of Alkosh. Okay. Increase the set's armor reduction cap to 6,000, up from 3,000. Perhaps damage dealers will finally wear it, but probably not. Oh, man. I don't know what to feel about this, to be honest. She's just crazy about this man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have some thoughts to this, but I'll have to think on. I have to think about it a bit more. 6,000 penetration up from 3,000. Also, if they really if anyone from ZOS is maybe watching this stream, or I don't know, if they really want damage dealers to wear it, give it more damage. Not... Well, okay, here's the thing. So... Okay, here's my thoughts. I'm just gonna say it right now. You know how they're adding more penetration via Alkosh, maybe having the Stam DPS wearing 511 or whatever, because of light armor passive. And now we have new set, Crimson Oath's Rive. You also have to take into account the Roar Alkosh. The penetration scales off of your weapon or spell damage, I believe, whichever is higher. Tanks right now can reach probably 4,000, 5,000 weapon damage. I don't know. I'm not sure if tanks can get to the actual 6,000. But the problem really here lies in with the fact that for Stam comps, it's not really a penetration issue. Ultimately, it's all it's an issue of itemization. If Stam had their own version of EC, MK, Zens, it'd be a completely different story. But they don't. So that's why most groups struggle with the itemization. So what I'm thinking, for the most part, is at times I think, well, I don't know. I think ultimately, the way things are going now, we'll probably see a very interesting full stam comp in the near future, or people will turn to the old style of bringing 6 or 5 stam DPS with 2 or 3 magic DPS for stam comps. But at that point, one can argue, why would you do that and not bring a full mag comp? So I don't know. It's a tricky, complex matter, but this is not really. I don't know. I know some people are probably excited about this, but it's like for me, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, Soulzon's Torment fixed an issue where if multiple players proc this set and has Soul active at any given time, anyone picking up a Soul will remove all others around them in a 3-meter radius. It will not only remove the user's Soul, so multiple people could properly use the set. Okay, Twilight Remedy. Fix an issue where this set could apply to yourself if you activate your own synergy. The power of the set is designed around being... Okay. Align Swarm PvP. Extend chains. Rebalance the master writ randomization across the blacksmithing, woodworking, clothing crafts to produce an equal chance of a random item set to craft. Okay, so they buffed crafting writs. Yay. Fixed an issue where obtaining a master writ to craft the Daring Corsair, Ancient Dragon Guard, and Human Acolyte was not possible. Fixed the quest pin. Conqueror. Updated sourcing. Okay. In preparation for a renaming of this event for next year for Mid-Year Mayhem, you'll note that the new name for Mid-Year Mayhem will be White Strix Mayhem. So, you know how people were always like confused about, for the past 2 years, oh, Mid-Year Mayhem? Why is that in January? And in the middle of the year? Now they're gonna do it so that White Strix Mayhem reworked in context so that it can run multiple times per year. When they say multiple times per year, do they mean like more than 2 times per year? Will they do like 4 oh no, sorry, 4 White Strix Mayhems every year? We'll see. Alright. Okay, New Life Festival. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yep. Yeah, that's it. Not very long. I have a patch notes, really. There's a lot to think over. In particular, in regards to Alkosh, Crimson Oath Drive, Frost Staff DPS, Frost Stank DPS, Battle Spirit, the nerf to Proxy, but also the buff to, you know, ball group counters in the form of item sets. In particular, the item set that spreads and does 10% more damage per target if you purge it too early. So the next patch, you know, they said, you know, the next patch notes are going to be comprised of many small changes, but of course, inadvertently, I think next patch we'll see some shifts in the meta as a result of these like small changes snowballing into bigger changes, or bigger changes than people realize. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for the patch notes.